Chris Stuckman, I've watched this guy for a very long time. I think he's a very interesting film critic. I've watched him way before he became who he is right now. And so I and his reviews mostly aligned with what I experienced after I watched a movie. Because I never used to watch, I don't watch reviews before I watch a movie, I watch reviews after I watch a movie. And his reviews are close to my experience. And so with time I've grown to actually respect him as a film critic. Now, with the heat that he's getting, I think it's unnecessary because one, this is YouTube, and YouTube is all about you sharing your opinion. I mean, the people who are actually talking negatively about him and why he's not a proper critic because of what he said about the director of Madam Web. I think they have the right to say that because it's YouTube. You know, it's your opinion, so it's open for you to say whatever you want, so they can say whatever they want. But they should also remember that Chris Stuckman is on YouTube. He too has the right to say whatever he wants to say about a movie. Apart from being a critic, the core idea behind YouTube is for you to talk about whatever you want to talk about, however you want to talk about, as long as it's not, it doesn't promote violence or any other sexual or whatever. But ideally, it's for you to just say whatever you want to say based on the you on YouTube. Yes, as much as I do agree with most of them that as a critic, you're supposed to focus on the product, not the producers of the product. I, again, would want to lean on Chris Stuckman's side. You know why? Let me give you a scenario. Say, for example, you're in New York and you want to go to the airport. So you get, let's call it a Uber. And so you get the Uber and then you get to the airport a bit late, a few minutes late, and so you give the person 0 rating. Why? Because he delayed your flight, and that is unacceptable. So you give him a 0 rating. 2 years down the line, things don't go well for you, you become an Uber driver. And now you understand what happens behind the scene. You understand the traffic, you understand that even if you take how many shortcuts, sometimes you'll be forced to be delayed because of just how the system works, the transport system works in New York, and how the app in itself works, and the struggle that you have to go through. So after that, things again go well for you, and 2 years after that, you find yourself again as the passenger. You are ordering a Uber again, and you enter the Uber, and you go to the airport, and you're a few minutes late. Would you review that, or would you rate that Uber driver the same way? Because now you have two understanding. Now you understand how the process works. So as much as you would want to give this person a 0, you can also see where the person is coming from. I think this is where Chris Stuckman is stuck, whereby he has two perspectives. A film critic who looks at the product and looks at it from a very technical point of view. You have the perspective of the viewer, the normal everyday viewer, a person who will just sit and watch a movie. And then now he has a perspective of a producer, or not necessarily a producer, a filmmaker, a person who has been involved in the process, and he understands the process. So number one, as much as I kind of disagree with the idea of saying that the director, the studio might have, made the life hard for the director, I feel that, yes, I appreciate the fact that you get that perspective from a filmmaker because he understands the process and he gives you an idea of what is happening behind the scene. As much as he's giving you, he's talking about the product, he also gives you an idea of what could have affected the product. So you have a better understanding. So I have a better understanding of the product in general. Now, when it comes to the directors and actors and us not really putting a lot of pressure on them and focusing on the studio, I would feel like, when a director is given an opportunity to work on a project, they should be able to come up with a contract that supports their vision and also aligns with their vision. Look, I know that they don't get a lot of projects, and once you get some of these projects, it's a lifetime opportunity. Things are not really easy. I understand that things are not easy in Hollywood. If you're going into a product, if you're going into filmmaking, there's a challenge because you have so many people and you have very little opportunities. And so each opportunity you get is a big opportunity. But sometimes you need to look at the studio that it's the same thing as going to look for a job. You can't go to look for a job somewhere where you know that people get harassed, you know that the working conditions are bad, and still go in. And when you don't produce exactly what you're supposed to produce, you know, go back and say it might have been the studio. You know, you need to analyze before you go into a movie and say, yes, this particular studio has a reputation for ABCD. When I look at this project, there's a possibility that it might be tampered with at a particular point. And if you can note that, you can comfortably say, you know, adios, leave, or whatever. But then again, it's their choice. But that's how I would look at not giving the director that leeway of saying that it might have been the studio. It should be always about the product. Let me put it this way. If it's about the product, then the director will be more keen when they go into a project, and they'll be more keen with whether the project aligns with them and whether it's going to be, you know, mutilated by the studio afterwards, because they know, you know people, you know studios. I mean, if you're in Hollywood and you're getting projects, you know how the system works, you know, and there's a reason the studio went for this particular director. I mean, they know that she's from TV and this is supposed to be a great opportunity. So the director is susceptible to manipulation because they know that this is your big break. This is going to be your first film. It's a lot of pressure, and so the producers, once they bring this kind of people in, they know that they can manipulate them the way they want because they have, you know, power over them in a way. So anyway, back to Chris Stuckman. I know that the YouTube ecosystem, you know, the internet ecosystem works weirdly. It's all about clicks. And so if something like this particular event is common sense, that is his opinion, he can say whatever he wants, and maybe you disagreed, but that's okay because you're not supposed to agree with everyone. But the ecosystem, you know, especially when it comes to YouTube, if you make a Chris Stuckman video criticizing him for what he said, it's more likely that you get a few number of clicks. I mean, there's a reason that I'm doing this video. Mine is a very small channel. I know that if I do a video like this one, I'll get a bit of traction, you know. The facts, it's the truth. I'm sorry. And so the people who, especially now, there's this rage watching, or is it called hate clicking, whereby you watch something based on the negative, whatever is coming from them, like Disney is dead. So you find that more people are drawn to negative news. And so if you talk about Chris Stuckman in a certain negative news, that now gives you a lot of, it's a weird ecosystem. This is YouTube. He has the right to say whatever he wants to say on his video. You criticizing him, saying that the OABCD, he did not do that, and just hate mongering. Hey, it's YouTube. It's your free whatever to say whatever you want, but just give the guy a break, man. The guy has a movie, he has kids, and now he has this, you know, he has this in-depth look into the industry and has a better understanding of whatever is happening. You know, it's that knowledge. Once you get that knowledge, it's supposed to change you. And I think what should happen is that as more, okay, I know Chris Stuckman will never see this video, but if, for example, he sees this video, I would prefer reviews whereby I would urge him to do more stuff like that. Not support any group, talk about the product, yes, but also give us an in-depth look at the possibilities of what might happen behind the scene. Because now he understands what happens behind the scene from a first point, because he's making a movie. He understands what happened, what usually happens when you're pitching a movie, when how the studios treat your script. He understands that. So in the future, maybe once he talks about a movie, he can just give us a brief idea of what could have possibly happened to actually make the movie work or make the movie not work, because he has that perspective of the viewer, the critic, and, you know, the filmmaker. So basically that's it. I did this because of that. I did this video because, one, Chris Stuckman, I think, is a very good film reviewer, as I said. Number two, the fact that he's enabled. Now he has like 3 perspectives on film that is meant to make him create better content. Number 3, he's making a movie. So that should be interesting, because once his movie comes out, he's a big YouTuber. Once his movie comes out, we can see a product from a YouTuber. You know, you can see a product from a critic. And lastly, the last reason why I made this video is because, again, the YouTube ecosystem you create a video about a controversial, anyone hating or loving, you'll get a few clicks. And that's why you're here. So basically, thanks for watching. Remember to always watch what you enjoy and enjoy what you watch. Thanks for being here. You can subscribe